Yeah, Triple B's in the building. Big Baller Brand supports the NBA buzz and the inside buzz. We with you, man. Triple B style.
The modern NBA is full of three-point shooting, and one of the most consistent and clutch shooters isn't in the league right now. I'm Mikey Domagala, host of Inside Buzz, and I'm sure you're wondering, who is it? Well, it's 7-year NBA veteran and one-time NBA champion Troy Daniels. Daniels, who won a championship in Italy this year, has the NBA back on his radar and is a must to be a spark off the bench for an NBA team. He's a career 40% three-point shooter, and in 2015-16 shot an insane 48% from three-point range in 43 games with Charlotte. In 2019-20, Lakers superstar Anthony Davis personally called Troy Daniels up and said, "Listen, man, we need some shooters on this team." They signed him right on the spot, and he won a championship with them that season. It seems like right now they need him again. Through 3 games, the Lakers are shooting just 21% from three-point range. LeBron James even the first to admit that they need shooters. He said this team isn't really constructed as a three-point shooting team. We'll see if Troy will get another call with the NBA or even the Lakers. That, of course, we'll discuss. So, Troy, welcome to episode 43 of Inside Buzz. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. The first question I have to start with, you just turned 31, coming off a championship in Italy, now back as a free agent. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the NBA right now who could use some shooting. Have you gotten any calls, and is there any interest in returning?
To be honest, I don't think I've got any calls. I talked to my agent maybe a week or two ago. Kind of really dry. But I'm still working out, trying to stay ready. Obviously, the interest is there for me. I'm pretty sure the interest is there for other teams as well. It's a lot of teams. I've actually been watching a lot more basketball than normal. So I've seen a lot of teams that are struggling shooting that need some help. I'm always ready.
And one of those teams, your former team, the Lakers. I mean, Troy, LeBron last week just said, "We're not a team constructed of shooters." Right now, they're shooting just 21% from 3 as a team in 3 games to open the season. I mean, those just aren't NBA numbers. That's like a college team numbers. Would you be able to help the Lakers if they were to give you a call? AD wanted you in 2019. He might want you again.
That's an easy call. If they were interested, obviously I would definitely be interested and ready to go as well. Just to tap in on that team as far as not being constructed to shoot. I think in today's NBA, every team needs to be constructed to be able to shoot the ball. We all hear the defense wins championships type of thing, but at the end of the day, you have to put the ball in the basket. So, getting guys that can do both is obviously everybody's dream, but sometimes you can't do that. So you have to build, teams around like, okay, this guy's really good at defense. Let's get another shooter over here, especially with LeBron. LeBron is a very, very, really, really good player, and he does a lot. But what he really needs is spacing on the floor. If he has no spacing, it's not going to really be to his benefit because he's not saying he's moving slower. He's never really moved that fast, but spacing creates little angles for him to get to the basket. He commands a lot of double teams, him and AD. So those guys need guys that can shoot the ball. And teams are going to pack the floor, especially when you got Russ out there with the guys. They're going to pack the floor, pack the paint. Got to be able to kick it out, and guys got to be able to make open shots. So.
Well, if you look at all of LeBron's championship teams, let's say in Miami, Mike Miller and Shane Battier were like those guys who he'd drive in and kick out to. In his later Cleveland years, J.R. Smith, Kevin Love was out there. So it's like, who do they need on that team? Should it be like a Buddy Hield? Should they go after somebody like that?
Because Buddy Hield would be a great option. I think they were looking to get Buddy Hield a couple years ago as well. I think that'd be a great pickup for them. They do need somebody like that, but with the contracts and how much Buddy Hield makes, considering how much the Lakers are in luxury tax, like it's a lot that goes into just getting those type of players. But also I think there are other players like myself and other free agents that can really shoot the ball that we don't command a lot of money. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know for sure. I think vet minimum gets a tax break or some kind of break on the salary cap as well. I've seen a lot of teams are utilizing the 2-way contracts and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think that tax break or whatever kind of break it is that vet minimums contracts get for the salary cap, it was implemented so teams could use those vets and get those contracts on the books. I haven't seen a lot of teams really going that route, but I feel like they should, because the NBA is a lot younger than it used to be 2 years ago. But at the end of the day, with younger players comes, something. So, and it comes less experienced or, not breaking team rules and stuff like that. I feel like you need more NBA vets across the board in the NBA to be able to show the way to some of these young guys who don't really know the NBA or don't really know, what to do or how to do it. And that's how I learned when I came in. I had tons of vets, Marvin Williams, Francisco Garcia, Kimball. He wasn't really a vet, but he was. I looked up to those guys, and they showed me the way. Al Jefferson, they really showed me the way. So I feel like the NBA is kind of missing that. You kind of seen like the turn after the bubble where teams were going, more so to the younger guys and getting the vets back in and going that route. So I think it's a direct correlation to some of these big teams who wanted to go to the trend of what the NBA was going, and now they're reaping the benefits from it.
Yeah.
So.
And Troy, I could name a few off the top of my head, and who I'm going to mention, I think a few of your former teammates. Not Carmelo Anthony, but he's one of those vets who's still a free agent. But two of your former teammates on the Lakers, DeMarcus Cousins, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, still free agents. Like, crazy. Those guys should be in the league. Do you agree?
Crazy. Oh, 100%. 100%. Especially Rondo, Cousins, Dwight, walking double-double. Those are really, really good players that can really bring something to the table right away. You don't have to, develop or this and that. They have championship experience, and ready to go literally right away. All this old talk or these guys are old, this and that. At the end of the day, we keep our bodies in tip-top shape year round. It's just part of being a professional basketball player. So those guys, I know for sure, including myself, will be ready to go if a team call. I just know 100%.
Troy, you were in LA right before Westbrook got there. How did you feel about that trade, getting rid of Kuzma, your old teammate, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope? And how do you think, it's going right now? And what has to change?
I think Kuzma getting out of LA was one of the best things possible for him. And then the Lakers getting Russ, obviously everybody thought it would work. And it's kind of not working at this moment. But Russ is a great guy. He's a great player. I think the media is just, on him too much. And also that's part of the game that comes with it. But at the end of the day, I think Russ just needs to relax, stop worrying about or stop trying to critique interviews and stuff like that, and just let it go. You know what I mean? And just play basketball. And that's my guy. So if I was able to talk to him or call him on the phone, bro, we don't care about none of that. You know what I mean? You get paid a lot of money, bro. Go out there and play basketball. Like, we don't really care. You know what I'm saying? So I think the media is like really, really on him. So it's kind of affecting him in that way. But I obviously thought it was a good deal when they got Westbrook. Obviously, what he brings to the table. I think it's more so of just a coaching staff or an organization figuring out how to utilize those players, and it gets very tricky and very hard as far as playing guys with certain guys, like playing Westbrook with LeBron, because LeBron demands the ball in his hands, but Westbrook also demands the ball in his hands. So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And maybe there's only 2 or 3 coaches in the world that can really figure out how to critique those type of personnel. But the coach is the coach, the players are the players. At the end of the day, they're 0-3, but it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of time left, plenty of games left. I think the roster they have is a little weak. I think they do need some shooters, but it's not a Westbrook type of deal.
In 2019-20, you played 41 games with the Lakers, but you weren't on that championship team. They were gracious enough to send you a ring. The question I have, why doesn't Wikipedia and other websites consider you an NBA champion, and how does that make you feel?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think Wikipedia, anybody can edit it, or some people can edit Wikipedia, whatever. At the end of the day, I feel like I was there for a long period of time. I was in the trenches, with those guys. I didn't ask to be traded. And I kind of wasn't even traded. It's weird how it happened, but at the end of the day, I got a ring. I played with those guys. I was on the championship team. Even when we like. The camp LeBron had in Vegas right before the season, like, we just all had a feeling, to be honest with you, that we were going to be a really, really, really good team. And I think the move that they made with me, I thought it was very premature. I think they were just trying to do something just to do it. But it's just business at the end of the day. So I'm not really tripping on the fact that I wasn't on that team towards the end, but it all ended up working out. I was able to be on the Nuggets. Was a blessing in disguise. We played in the bubble. There was a pause in the season anyways. There's just a lot going on that season. So I consider myself a champion. I don't need the media or anybody to validate me being a champion. I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table, and I do have a ring. So At the end of the day, it is what it is.
I was gonna say, all you got to do is whip out that ring and say, "Oh yeah, I'm not a champion. I'm not a champion right here."
Yeah.
After the Lakers, like you mentioned, traded to Denver. Whatever happened to get you to Denver. Man, Jokic, is he the most disrespectful player in the NBA? 2 MVPs back to back, and it's like he's not even covered in the media.
I feel like he's a Hall of Famer already. I mean, just as he's so good and he's so underrated. I feel like, just have to be around him to know how like really good he is. Can pass the ball, can shoot, very knowledgeable, knows the game. Um, you know, has a presence the back to the basket, facing the basket. It's just, I mean, it's across the board, rare talent. And I think he obviously doesn't even really care about the recognition or anything like that. Not even the money. He just wants to go out there and play basketball and win games. So I feel like, he's the ultimate professional, ultimate big man in the league right now. So I mean, he's just unbelievable, bro.
And Troy, tell me about the NBA bubble. I mean, I watched a few of your vlogs. I saw you start a YouTube channel when you were in there. But tell me the pros and cons about it. It looked like fun, but you're also away from your family.
Yeah, and I could have had a totally different answer. Well, I would have had a totally different answer before I went to Italy, but being away from your family for 10 months in another country is a whole different level. So I can't even. There's not a con, as far as that is concerned, as far as the bubble. I think the biggest thing was just getting tested all the time. Just having to deal with COVID was one of the worst cons. But at the end of the day, I think the NBA did a wonderful, great job as far as sealing everything in and having everything for us to do. Like we could go play golf. You had restaurants. You know what I mean? We go fishing, ride bikes. Like it was a lot that we could do within the bubble, not just sit in your hotel room, whatever. Also, the players' lounge was unbelievable. Like you on the top floor of the hotel we were staying in, they had this whole penthouse like rented out, and it was just snacks at every single hour of the night, video games, whatever you really needed. It was there, so it didn't feel like we were like trapped inside of a bubble. It was more so like, dang, like they got a lot of money and they utilize it the right way. So that's how I felt.
So, like, when you were in that lounge, would you walk in and see Giannis randomly, like Jokic around, LeBron around? Like, you would just see everybody kind of in the same common area.
Yeah, you would, and it was kind of a different dynamic because I feel like the NBA has never, been in that position and never had a lounge where you just see Giannis walking, or Kimba going this way. John, you know what I'm saying? Like you just never thought you would see that. And I think it was really good for the camaraderie of the league in general. Even when, some stuff happened in the bubble when we had when we had the meeting and we were thinking about shutting the NBA down as far as players, like we all came together. And it was easy for us to come together because we were all right there. Usually guys have to fly in on here, we have to be on Zoom, we have to do this, but everybody was there and we could get into one room and just talk and meet and see what we wanted to do. So I think that was a very different dynamic that's never been seen before. And it was I think it helped out the league and the camaraderie between those players.
Yeah, that's the NBA brotherhood right there for sure. Who was somebody on the Nuggets you really got close to in the bubble?
Monte Morris, me and him was kind of really tight. Jamal Murray, me and him was kind of really tight. That's pretty much it. Everybody, I feel like we were all brothers. You know what I mean? Like even though I was there for a short period of time, with those guys, they welcomed me with open arms. And when you spend a lot of time with people every single day, you get this kind of feeling of like, this is kind of like a brotherhood. You're going into the battle together, you're practicing together, you're doing all kind of stuff together. So overall, the organization and the personnel that was on that team that year was amazing. It was, first class.
I know you saw it firsthand, courtside. Jamal Murray, absolutely killing the league in the bubble. Him versus Donovan Mitchell was like a heavyweight fight. Then that next year he gets injured. So what do you expect from him this season, and what do you remember about him going off?
To be honest with you, I expect him to literally, come out with a vengeance. Being out for that long is tough. It's tough mentally. It's tough physically. And you just never know. But I mean, I think the perfect example right now is John Wall. Like you don't know if you watch some of the game. John Wall is playing on another level, a different level. And usually when you're able to take that time off, you're able to watch your minutes is what you played up until this point and watch the games, and it kind of slows down for you. So I feel like it already has slowed down for Jamal. But I think when he comes back, it's going to be, even further to the extent of him going crazy. Like again, like I think he's going to have a vengeance, and I hope he does. To be honest with you, so we'll see.
So in your career, teammates with prime James Harden, Dwight Howard, Kevin Garnett, Kemba, Vince Carter, Devin Booker, Jamal Crawford, LeBron, AD, Jokic, so many more of those legends. So out of all of them, who is the most skilled?
The most skilled. Ooh.
Not the best, because we know that answer is LeBron. All-time
Yeah.
great, but who is the
Yeah.
most skilled?
I would say LeBron is the most mentally skilled. Like I don't think a lot of people, you're not able to really see that unless you're actually around and see how he does that. Right here is crazy. The most skill, wow, that's tough. Between all the greats, I think the most raw talent, Jamal Crawford, no question. I mean, he'll do some Rucker Park type, you know what I'm saying, like something crazy on you, Craig. Um, I'm kind of torn. I want to say James Harden, as far as like most skilled, just because the way he manipulates, what he used to manipulate the referees was very, I've even had a couple referees like, I mean, come on, man, like you make a call and he's one of the he is the toughest guy to call a game on as far as being a referee. So to me, you have to have skills to be able to do that. You know what I mean? So I would say him. I, maybe Kimba. Kimba, I mean, he's very, very skilled, like coming off ball screens, him in the ball screen. If you a slow big, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna buy you.
How about
I mean,
Vince? How about Vince Carter? I did an interview with Costa Koufis, and he said when Vince was like 40 years old, Costa saw him do unreal stuff with the basketball in practice.
Oh yeah, that's normal. I mean, I got tons of stories for every single player I played with, but Vince was he lifted after every game. I think he was around 40 years old when we played together when he was in Memphis. Um, yeah, so he lifted, and this is not like a regular lift. This is like kind of like a heavy lift, squats and everything. I'm like, bro, you just played 40 minutes and you're in lifting. It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, he could do some crazy little dunks, 360s and all that stuff. It just came very natural to him. So, yeah, Vince, I mean, he's a legend. Come on now. It's Vince Carter we're talking about here. So, yeah, but I feel like I got like a story for literally, everybody I played with, and everybody brings something very, very unique to the table. But those guys that I named, in those categories is by far.
Houston James Harden. You said, right before his MVP years, he was really a killer back then when you were on his team. Why couldn't that Rockets team win a championship?
Sometimes of what I've learned the past 8 years of being in the NBA, egos can get in the way of a lot. Um, it's just tough it's rare that you have a team who guys really don't care about, certain stuff. But we had a lot of egos on that team, and I love everybody. I love everybody on that team. We had a really good team as far as name wise, but as far as egos go, guys, your personal vendettas and stuff like that, and with to their own right, being a professional in the NBA, you have to think like that sometimes. You have to be kind of selfish sometimes like that because you have to be able to prepare for the next career. But one thing I've also learned being in the NBA on really good teams is that when we win, everybody wins, and it goes back to me playing in Charlotte that year. Obviously, we know it was one of those type of years where we're about to have very soon, where guys start getting crazy contracts again. But it was the TV deal had just hit for us in Charlotte, but we were winning, so we had like a franchise record in wins. We were real. That was the closest team I've ever been, other than the Lakers, like the closest team I've ever been on. And we were winning. So I think 9 guys out of 15 or 10 guys out of 15 got paid that year. Um, and some stayed on the Hornets, some, left and go. I was one of the guys that left and went. But, when you win, everybody wins. And I feel like a lot of teams, even to this day, really don't kind of understand that because it's like a dog-eat-dog world in the NBA. Like, even in the business world in general, like it's a dog-eat-dog world. You have to be able to protect yourself and protect your interests later on down the road. So I think we had a lot of personal agendas on that team that year, but that doesn't stop guys being the players that they were, So.
And Troy, how about that game winner against Portland, Game 3, 2014? You're a rookie. The commentator said Troy Daniels hits the biggest three of his life. Is that still true to this day?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent. I think another big three that I hit that I felt like solidified me getting a big deal the next year was the Sacramento Kings when I hit that buzzer beater, or I might not have been a buzzer beater, but it was a game winner. And I had like 32. I think Cousins had like 50 that game. I think the Rockets shot was unbelievable because not only just the shot, like that whole series I had was a really good series. Like the game before that, I think I had like 16, or the game after that, like 16. Like I was really playing very well. Um, so I think, obviously with the shot, it gave me the chance to get into the door of the NBA. But I feel like the biggest shot, which I feel like, because once I hit that shot, I just knew. Like my agent had called me right after, was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like you really solidified yourself. Was that Sacramento Kings again? So.
Amazing. And yeah, my following question is, what's it like to be in the zone, and how does it feel mentally?
When you're in the zone, you feel like you can't be stopped. And it's kind of weird. I feel like other players can attest to this too as well. Like when you're in that type of zone, or like you're you're playing in front of 40, 50,000 people on top of, the subscribers on YouTube, whatever, watching the games too, and the TV watching the game. It's like I'm able to zone out everything, and the only thing that I focus on, or anything that I can see and hear, is stuff on the court. It's so weird, but it's almost like I just go into this zone, like tunnel vision of I got this guy in front of me. This is my matchup. This is our game plan, what we're doing, and I don't hear anything. Like even when fans are talking and stuff, like I see a lot of guys like saying stuff to fans now because they're screaming this and that. I don't really hear any of that. You know what I mean? And that really helps me get into the mode of like, okay, yeah, like this guy can go off at any given time. You know what I mean? So, once that happens, you're gonna need a couple double teams, or you're gonna need to figure something out to be able to, stop me from getting the shot off. So at the end of the day, that tunnel vision is crazy, man.
Incredible. And you played in Charlotte under Michael Jordan. How was it playing for him? Was it nerve-wracking? Was he like really cool, perfectionist, but you got to watch yourself around him? How was it?
It was cool. It was cool. It was cool pulling up in the arenas, seeing a Ferrari over there parked by itself. It's Michael's, you know what I mean? Or, at the games, he's on the bench. He's very, very involved and in tuned in the game, and he's on your side. You know what I mean? I mean, you if you mess up or whatever, and you're not having a good game, he's gonna be on you for sure. But also, he's on the refs, and as a basketball player, you want to see, especially somebody who has played in the past anyway, our greatest player ever. You want to see him in tune. Like you don't want to see somebody come to the game and not really into it. You know what I mean? Or not even there, just not really worried about it, just being like the owner. But like when Michael was there, it was different because he was, he's sitting down, like he's locked in. You know what I mean? Watching the game. Like I seen you get that rebound. You know what I mean? Like that type of feeling was an amazing feeling to be able to play for somebody like that. It made me play a lot harder. On top of Steve Clifford was a great coach. He kept me playing hard. So, when Michael would come into practice, I think, matter of fact, it was a funny story with Michael Jordan. One time, I can't really remember the exact reason why he came in, but I think we lost like 4 out of 5 games or something like that. We weren't playing to our potential at all, like literally really bad. And Mike came in and we sat down. And we get ready for film, and then he came in. I'm like, oh Lord, like we're really in trouble now. Like I thought we was gonna just hear it from Cliff, and Michael comes in and has a basic conversation with us, and the conversation was like, you MFers ain't earning your salary. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to go out there and perform every night in, night out. I don't want to hear no excuses, like that type of deal. And to be honest with you, it woke us up. I think that was the year that we had a franchise record and wins and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like hearing that from somebody like that, and he's the owner of the team, like it resonates a little differently. You know what I mean? So.
And he was 50-51 at that time. Did he ever hop in any practices?
I seen him one time. No, not practice for sure. No, Cliff wouldn't even let that happen. But I seen him play one-on-one a couple times after practice with a couple guys. Obviously he might still think he got it, but Father Time is undefeated. So. The competitiveness is still there, the mental and the mindset is still there, but your body, might tell you to do one thing. I want to say it was Kimba. It was Kimba or somebody else, but to be honest with you, like that was 2011. I was in Charlotte 2013. I think I came back 14, 15, something like that. So that's, a lot of years, down the road as far as him being, very active and playing and stuff like that. But I think it was Kimba. And it was kind of like some nonchalant type thing. It wasn't like, shirts off, let's get it, we sweating hard type thing. But Father Time is undefeated, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
How important was the NBA G League in the beginning of your career, and how did that kind of shape you getting to the league?
Great. That's actually a great question. Nobody really ever asked me anything like that before. I think it was very, very beneficial to me. At the time, no, I didn't. We want to go to the NBA. Straight out of college, we want to go straight to the NBA. That's the fit. You know what I mean? But it was a blessing in disguise for me to go through what I went through because, once I made it, it made it that more important to me. It made it feel like I had to grind to get there. Nobody really ever, 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 ever handed me anything. You know what I mean? So that gave me a chip on my shoulder to go out there and be able to perform night in and night out was probably one of the reasons why I've had a long NBA career. Was because every time I go out there, I'm hungry. You know what I mean? Like I don't ask for anything. No coach gonna give you anything. No team's gonna give you anything. So I had to go out there and earn it. And that's just I kind of like um, I don't know. Like I said, it just gave me a chip on my shoulders. I think it really helped me. Playing in the G League. I was able to play a lot of minutes, and I really kind of found myself for real. Like if you go back and watch the tapes, I really found myself in the G League where I was doing stuff I didn't even know I could do. You crossing guys and going through the lane, had a couple of dunks, you know what I mean? And it gave me this confidence of like, you can't stop me. 30 points a game, you know what I mean? Like it was like that. So once I got to the league, literally right after when I got called up, every time my name was called in those, I think it was 7 or 8 games lead up to the playoffs with the Trailblazers, every single time I got in the game, I produced. You know what I mean? And that was all because of what I went through in the G League, and then it helped me get my rhythm and find myself. So it worked out perfect for me, man.
So I'm assuming you're a proponent of the NBA G League Ignite. These kids coming in before they're even drafted and, perfecting their skills.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, it used to be the D League when I was there. It's the G League now, but yeah, I'm all for, the G League and stuff like that. If that's what you need. If that's not what you need, then go wherever you need to go to get what you need. You know what I mean? So, but it definitely helps out. I think it definitely, like I said, it adds a chip on your shoulder, but it humbles you as well. Because these college players now, they're freshmen and sophomores thinking I'm a leaguer. You know what I mean? I'm going to the NBA, or I don't have to listen to you. It kind of humbles you, and once it humbles you, it makes you work to get back to where you want to be, and you'll have a better career. I feel like after that.
So the NBA to Italy, what were your initial expectations, and how did it go?
My initial expectation, I didn't really have any expectations other than just winning and trying to play the best basketball possible. I didn't, to be honest with you, my mindset of like going over to Italy compared to how it really was two different things. And it was kind of frowned upon for me. It was frowned upon for me, going overseas. I never thought I would go overseas. Once I did all, grinded and worked my way up through the G League and got to the NBA, I thought I was, I'm an NBA guy. Going overseas really humbled me, to be honest with you. Very, very, like it really, really humbled me. But it also helped me mentally. It was a lot of things I went through mentally during that season, just by being away from family for so long, but also just being in different countries and traveling and doing all this other stuff. Had tons of fun, great. But would I do it again? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like I respect a lot of guys that have played overseas, that are playing overseas. I respect them to the utmost, more so than I did before I played overseas. But I just don't think personally I'm at that point in my career where I want to dedicate another 3 to 4 or 5 years away from my family. Obviously, in the NBA, you're away from your family, but you're not away from your family like that. And I'm at that point in my career, like now, where I kind of determine in a certain way where I want to be, how I want to do it. And overseas really was just not for me. But I think it helped me mentally, and it was a great experience. Messina is a really, really, like a really good coach. Crazy, really good coach though. And the guys that I played with, they were really good as well. The team that I was on and the organization, it's like an NBA team, to be honest with you. So it was great.
Well, that's another thing you could say you've done. You've got a championship over there. I'm sure you made good money and you traveled the world. So, just a good memory to have. Yesterday, or was it today, I saw you post your McLaren on Instagram. Now, is that your hottest car?
That is one of my hottest cars. I've always loved cars, to be honest with you. Like, always loved cars. I never had a supercar since like even when I was in the NBA. I've had Rolls Royces, Mercedes. I mean, you name it, I've had it. But as far as like a supercar, never had. So I had the opportunity to be able to, um, get the McLaren, and I got it. And once I sat in it, I just knew right away, like, wow, this is me. You know what I mean? So, um, I do have some other cars, more family oriented cars like a Maybach, and my fiance, she has a G wagon and stuff like that. Probably gonna change up the fleet in maybe by next year. I'm keeping the McLaren. Disclaimer. But and to be honest, it kind of I never knew this. It kind of tapped me into a whole nother world that I never thought um, was out there. To be honest with you, like the car was, they have their own following. That's them. They do that. You know what I mean? Like your car meets, your car shows. People, guys who collect cars and do all kind of stuff to them. It's a whole following out there, and I love it. I love it. And I'm at, within where I live at, we have like this big group we have where guys have their cars and stuff. And some of the people that I've met, it's just been amazing. Like I've met doctors, I've met lawyers, I met a guy that owns like 50 gas stations. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm meeting these different types of people. And it's just amazing, man. It's really, I feel like it's gonna set me up for life somehow in some way. I don't know, that's not my motive in it. I just have fun doing it. But the type of people that I'm around, it keeps my goals and dreams and everything like flowing in my head because that's all they talk about. And then when all they talk about, you keep going, something's gonna come out of it. So I'm so glad I got that car, to be honest with you. And hopefully, down the road we can have 5 to 10 more.
Is there a specific car you have your eyes on when you change up your fleet?
Yeah, I do. One thing about me, I do my research. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do my research, and most of my cars, I'll say 85% of my cars that I've had in my NBA career, I've made money on, which kind of sounds like weird to people. Like, wow, you made. How did you do that? You know what I mean? I've made money on my cars, and one thing about me, I keep my cars up. I keep them serviced and make sure everything is good on them, and then I don't do too much to them. To make the next buyer not want to buy it. And at the end of the day, I do have some other things. Maybe a Rolls Royce could be in the near future. McLaren, I'm probably gonna keep the McLaren 720. It's just a great car. And then I don't know, maybe another family car like an Escalade or something like that. Or I had a Lamborghini truck before the McLaren, so maybe get the Lamborghini truck back or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm really into cars, and I do know my cars. I do.
I'm into cars a little bit, and I have seen some Lamb trucks around. What's better, a G-Wagon or a Lamb truck?
Lamb truck by far, just because, and I've had both, so this is a perfect situation. The G-Wagon doesn't have space in the back seat, like it's not too much space. It's kind of boxy. The G63s, the new ones, they're kind of jerky. It's just like they're a lot better than the old versions because I had the old version too. I had an old version G65, which was a V12 engine. That one didn't have any power steering. Like I had to like take the steering wheel like and really like try to turn it. So that was hard. But the new G Wagon Mercedes did a great job, 100%. But it's not better than a Lambo truck. Lambo truck, you get the best of both worlds. It's very fast, has a lot of power, and it's smooth. It's smooth, and it has actual space in the back, which it might not look like it the way it's slanted in the back a little bit, but it has a lot of space. I have fit 2 little girls back there, plus one other person in the middle before. You know what I mean? G-Wagon is possible, but you're gonna be cramped up. Like when I'm driving a G-Wagon and my daughter's in the back, I have to literally be, my knees are touching the dashboard just because she doesn't have any space back there. So G-Wagon or Lamb truck.
Any interest in a Tesla?
And it's funny, wifey, she won't let me get a Tesla. I wanted to get a Tesla. I put solar panels on the house, like I'm, renewable clean energy, no light bill, the whole thing. And I want to add to that by getting a Tesla, tax breaks, all that. It was great. Like, it's just dope. No, she it's not really her vibe. It's not her style. I don't have anything against Tesla. I absolutely love it. If I could get one, I would. I think they're cool. The doors open up in the back. You know what I mean? The only thing I don't like about the new Teslas, I'm not sure what the model is the steering wheel. I think that's kind of, we're not there yet. We're going to be there soon. Maybe not soon. We're going to be there at some point, but we're not there yet. I just think it's kind of dangerous, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. And back to the NBA for a couple last questions. Who's your MVP this year, and who do you have winning the championship?
Oh, I haven't watched enough NBA to tell you exactly who my NBA is going to be, but I've seen a lot of headlines, and I do know this player, and I do know he's very, very good. Embiid, um, I mean, he's a walking double double for sure, but like he commands so many double teams, it's not even funny. You know what I mean? So he's a really good player, and I haven't really, to be honest with you, I haven't really watched too many games of him, but I've seen the headlines, and I feel like I can comment on it just because I know what type of player he is, and I've seen some of the other guys out there who potentially could be that I just don't think is possible this year. But um, Embiid, I think he can be a really really. I feel like he should have got it maybe was it last year? Maybe not. Yeah, it might have been last year. Maybe he should have got it. But yeah, I'm going with him as far as MVP for this year. What was the other question?
And who's your championship pick?
Again, like we still really early. I like the Clippers. I like the Clippers. I'm once a Laker, always a Laker. You know what I mean? But I just don't. I just feel like the Lakers didn't construct the team right, and I feel like they knew that. They just try to figure it out and see what would happen. But one thing about the Lakers, I'm gonna tell you, especially in the fan, like it's being a Laker fan and just anything about the Lakers. Like the Lakers don't play. Like the organization, they don't mess around. LeBron don't mess around. The fans don't mess around. So like we're not gonna watch this too much more long. You know what I mean? Like something's gonna happen. Whether Jeannie Buss has to tap into that wallet a little bit more for some luxury tax. Something gonna happen. You know what I mean? So I don't think we're going to keep watching what we're watching. Hopefully, I'm on the roster as well when that does happen. But at the end of the day, I think the Clippers have the best chance right now.
That would be nice to see you on there. And Troy, back to what you said about not seeing too many games. Listen, you're a follower of NBA Buzz now. You're going to get all the best headlines, all the best stats and everything. So
Yeah. Yes, sir.
yeah, everybody you'll be able to see. And Troy, lastly, if an NBA team was watching right now, what would you tell them about your game and where you are now?
I feel like I'm a lot more seasoned than I was, younger. I don't have a lot of miles on my legs and my knees. I might be 31, but I'm probably 31 in the 26-year-old body. And the minutes in my career can attest to that. And also I just feel like I can bring a lot to the team as well as what I do best, which is shooting. I feel like in the NBA as a player, which I tell a lot of the young guys, you don't have to be able to do everything very well, but you do have to do something very well, and you have to master that. And there's only one LeBron. There's only one, you know what I mean? There's only one James Harden. So don't go out there and try to do everything. I know what I can bring to the table. I know what I can do best, which is shoot the ball. And I feel like I'm the ultimate professional, like on and off the court. Like you're gonna get, a very, dope professional who's going to be trying to help the young guys out, who's coming to practice, 2-3 hours early, who's working out. You're going to get that with me. You know what I mean? And it's not just talk; it's proven. It's been with every team I've been on. So, at the end of the day, we can talk all this talk or whatever, but you have to be able to produce. You know what I mean? And I'm right now, like I don't like talking people, talking their heads off of what I can really bring to the table. Like, at the end of the day, like all it takes is one workout, 2 workouts, 3 workouts, you know what I mean? To be able to see what we can really get, what they can really get. So a workout here and there, if they want to see, that's no problem. You know what I mean? So I feel like in this day and age, a lot of agents, you think, hey man, I can tell you this guy, he can bring this, he can do that. No, I can show you better than I can tell you. You know what I mean? So that's just what I feel like I bring to the table, and I feel like that's with a lot of teams, not just 1 or 2. I feel like a lot of teams need that. So that's what it is.
I'm Mikey Domagala. That was Troy Daniels, and that was episode 43 of Inside Buzz. Troy, a pleasure to have you.
Man, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. It was a pleasure.